It's not very often I get excited about DLC in all honesty, but Shadows of Rose had me pretty giddy. Not only being able to replay the original game in third person, but we also get to evolve the story behind the Winters family, taking control of Rose some 16 years later after the events of Village, and we get to play everybody's favourite game.
The floor is lava!
Well, no, not exactly. The floor is mould, but there's plenty of basic encounters that resemble an extremely dangerous version of the floor is lava. But before I could do that, I couldn't even fire the game up, and Capcom have acknowledged there is an issue for PC players, and I had to download a DLL file to get it working, which is an absolute joke. Turning a game on and having it work exactly how it's supposed to is the dream now, guys, and I'm still daring to dream. Honestly, Capcom, come on. Anyway, I got it working and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. The third person works pretty much flawlessly in both the original Ethan story and the new story surrounding Rose, where she revisits the same locations as the original game, but within a strange realm, the consciousness of the mold, where everything is warped. It's not just a copy and paste job either, so plenty of new assets, and the differences feel much more nuanced compared to the original Village game. The third person perspective translates really well, and there's a whole range of new animations that have been added to help with this transition. We still zoom into first person though for the cutscenes, which can be a little jarring at times, but Capcom didn't want us to miss out on the sheer rudeness of the NPCs that are still populating this village.
Who's this? Took your damn time. Oh, you're welcome.
You're not from this village.
What the fuck is this?
The new Shadows of Rose story is a little on the short side, with about 3, maybe 4 hours of content at most, but that's kind of what I've grown to expect with a Resident Evil game these days. They're never that long. Replayability has been extended with new additions to the mercenary mode too, which I never really poured that much time into myself, but the new playable characters of Lady Dimitrescu and Heisenberg are a welcomed addition, again impactfully mixing things up and changing perspectives too. This whole DLC seems built around changing the player's perspective, and Capcom have done a great job in doing that. I felt like the difficulty might be reduced with some of the space I'm playing in being more visible, less of a claustrophobic feeling, and therefore the enemies' violent movements and swaying being easier to target, but nope, they're still wobbling all over the place like
wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man, wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man.
There's a much bigger emphasis on horror in Rose's story, and I'm all for that. A lot of the mechanics carry over, with plenty of weaponry and ammo crafting to keep Rose alive, but thematically it feels more on the horror side than the original Village did. Entering another realm and a mysterious helping hand regularly burning words into the walls to guide Rose all feels a little more supernatural than anything else. Rose's new powers are simple enough, and the reason she's here to begin with, because she wants rid of them to live a normal life, but as she searches for the answers, her only option is to increase her powers, which are used in a very basic puzzle sense and combatively too. Rose can target these cores that are blocking the way with these hideous puddles of oozing mold, and finding them and focusing on them will disintegrate the mold, clearing the way to move forward. It never gets too difficult, but a little out of reach at times, and you'll often stumble across cores that are just protecting some valuable loot too. When it comes to using Rose's powers in combat, you can counterattack once you've been grabbed in these brutal face-gulping animations, and you can also freeze enemies temporarily, slowing them down to become less of a wacky inflatable tube man. You're not limited in their use when you want to destroy the cores, but you are limited in their use during combat, and those little white circles in the bottom right corner of your screen are the number of uses that you have left. You can replenish Rose's powers by finding and consuming a sprig of white sage, and the total number of uses you can have banked at any one time will increase as you progress through the story. Now, I'm really glad the marketing was a little more subtle this time round and focused more on the actual game instead of Capcom's marketing department founding the initial popularity of the game on the shapeliness of a certain Lady Dimitrescu.
I'm gonna start with the breasts.
Oh, naturally.
Right, okay?
Right. Oh, those are
Beautiful.
big.
Bountiful.
I would say so.
Gorgeous, right?
Oh.
Oh,
Did you see?
Yeah, that is some. Damn, dude, you can draw. I'm getting kind of like a little flustered.
Yeah, well, that's understandable.
In fairness to them, it worked, but ultimately at around £15 to $20, that's a lot of money for just the Shadows of Rose story, but being able to replay the entire game again in third person and the new addition to the mercenary mode definitely make this a worthwhile purchase. Capcom need to fix this shit with regards to launching the game, and luckily I did find my own fix thanks to some hero who uploaded a DLL file. Regardless of how good the DLC is, it's still not on. It's not god tier DLC, don't get me wrong, but still a very enjoyable change to the perspective and something I've really enjoyed playing this weekend. Let me know your thoughts on the DLC though. Have you already played and finished the game, or do you prefer the first person perspective and you'll be giving this one a miss? Let me know in the comments and I'll see you in the next one.